Hello, dear friends! We are here for you, live streaming from St Elisabeth Convent in Minsk, Belarus. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Sr.Anastasia, and I have a guest today with me. This is Sister Alexandra Pavelchuk. She was so kind to join us today, and she also agreed to sing for us today. She is one of the Sisters of Mercy in our convent and also a really wanted member of many choirs of our convent. She will be singing for you today. She even prepared a mini concert which will consist 3 songs. All of them are in English language, but she will let you know herself what she's going to sing. Please remember that all the information will be posted in our live chat, so please keep your eye on it. And we are also waiting for your questions which are related to our live stream, which we will be happy to answer in the end of our program. So please enjoy. Sister Alexandra, the live stream is all yours for now.
Thank you, Sister Anastasia. Hello, everyone. We're just going to prepare the room for me to sing. Just a moment. So today I brought my friend, my ukulele with me, and I'm going to sing a couple of songs for you. I was hoping that my choir will be here with me, but they could not be here, so you'll have to listen to me. The first song that I want to sing is called Waiting for My Real Life to Begin. It's a pop song. It was written by Collin Hay, an Australian pop singer, but I love this song so much. At a certain period of my life, this song meant a big deal for me. I think it's about a person who was, who's still struggling to live by himself, but God is starting to speak with him, and this person is, in search of God at this time. So I hope you like this song as much as I do. The second song that I'm gonna sing is called Carried Me With You, and it's actually an official soundtrack for the Disney movie called Onward that I think aired last summer. And I heard it for the first time and I thought, hey, this is about my relationship with Jesus, actually, and about everyone's relationship with Jesus Christ. So I changed just a few pronouns at the beginning. If you know the song, you'll notice it. If you don't know the song, enjoy. Carried Me With You. You're the one who understands the scars that made me who I am. Through the drifting sands of time, I got your back and you got mine. If I bear a heavy load, you'll be the wheels, you'll be the road. You'll see us through the thick and the thin, for love and loss until the end. 'Cause you carried me with you, from the highest of the peaks to the darkness of the blue. I was just too blind to see, like a lighthouse in a storm. You were always guiding me, yeah, it's true. You carried me with you. From the day it all began, yeah, you were there. You took my hand, and when I hurt a bit too deep, you watched me as I fell asleep. And when my head was in the clouds, you found a way to pull me out. You picked my heart right off the ground, and it showed me love was all around. 'Cause you carried me with you, from the highest of the peaks to the darkness of the blue. I was just too blind to see, like a lighthouse in a storm. You were always guiding me, yeah, it's true. You carried me with you. You carried me with you. And the last song that I'm going to sing is a 19th century Celtic hymn called I Heard the Voice of Jesus Say. I heard this song for the first time from a dear friend of mine she's my English friend. Her name is Emma, and I hope she's watching. I'm really missing her. We sang it very spontaneously when she was visiting our convent, and this song is really beautiful when two people are singing it, but again, I'm going to sing it alone. So Emma, I'm really missing you now. Please sing along. I heard the voice of Jesus say, "Come unto me and rest. Lay down, thou weary one, lay down, thou
Сестер в белом облачении город знает более 20 лет. Сестричество милосердия носит имя княгини Елисаветы Федоровны. На окраине города стоит одноименный монастырь. Некоторые белые сестры пожелали принять обеты монашества. Все основано здесь на подвиге женщины уникальной судьбы. Личная трагедия и вместе с тем глубокая вера и жертвенное служение бедным. Англо-германская принцесса, сестра императрицы, супруга губернатора Москвы. Нас с ней разделяет эпоха. Дух княгини Елисаветы не в зданиях, не в вещах, а в судьбах тех, кто идет ее путем.
Dear brothers and sisters, I hope you enjoyed a short concert that Sister Alexandra provided to us. It was wonderful for me. I really love your singing. Thank you so much. And just now you saw a short episode from our documentary film called The Lay Sisters of St. Elisabeth Convent. You can find its link in our live chat, so you can watch the full version of it later on. We constantly share as a lay sisterhood our experience with brothers and sisters in Christ. We love so much when all the pilgrims come to our convent. Our sisters travel all over the world, being open to share our experience and also share what inspires us. Today, as I mentioned to you, I invited our Sister of Mercy, Sister Alexandra Pavelchuk, to join us for today's live stream and to share and to talk with us about our agenda, the Sisterhood and Lay Sisters of St. Elisabeth Convent. We wanted to try and have a complex program which will answer all the questions that dear friends of ours ask us during our visits. What the sisterhood is and who are the Sisters of Mercy. But first of all, I want Sister Alexandra to tell shortly about herself and her connection with St. Elisabeth Convent.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Anastasia. So yeah, as you know, my name is Sister Alexandra, Sasha for short. Some of you might know me from the concerts in England that me and the other sisters were going to a couple of years ago. So basically, I come from an Orthodox priest family. My father is an Orthodox priest, and he even served a little bit in our convent in here for the past couple of years. I'm 29 years old, almost. I studied at the Linguistic University in Minsk here. That's why I speak English and a little bit of German. My story of becoming a Sister of Mercy and coming to the convent is actually connected with the university that I studied in. So I sang in a choir there, obviously. I loved choir singing, and I had a lot of people around me, from different backgrounds. And I had a friend there who was an atheist, and I think he still is an atheist. And one day he just comes up to me and says, what do you think, do you want to participate in a recording of a CD of the, Orthodox liturgy chants? And I thought, are you talking to me about the liturgy, Orthodox? You are, not associated with the church in any way. And he said, yeah, we have a convent in Minsk, and I never heard of this convent before that time. And he said, he actually went to the convent and was looking for a job as a translator because there was a need for such a person in the convent at that time. And he met Mother Maria, who you all know as well. They both decided that probably he, not being associated with the church, was not the best fit for this job. But she offered him to sing, for the recording of this liturgy chants in English. And he said, I will pass, but I definitely know who would be interested. And, and for me, it's such an amazing thing that from this moment when my atheist friend basically made a path for me to the convent, my actual life with church, with Christ, and with the convent started. And that's like a big miracle for me. Maybe it's just a small one.
When did it happen? How many years ago?
Oh, it was about 10 years ago now.
10 years,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, quite a long time for me. Maybe not too long for other sisters, but for me it's almost, third of my lifetime. So yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. Please watch on your screen now a short fragment, another fragment from also our convent's documentary, which is called 20 Years Later, the Lay Sisterhood of St. Elisabeth Convent, which was filmed commemorating 20 years of the sisterhood of our convent. Please watch it now.
Сейчас сложнее.
It is harder now.
С опытом.
At the same time, the experience that we gain changes us.
Ты меняешься сам.
Everything depends on you, after all.
Пришла очень давно.
I joined the Sisterhood about 8 years ago. At that time, I sang in a choir while studying in Linguistic University. The sisters were looking for choristers who could sing in English. This is how I learned about the convent and participated in a choir project recording a CD. I was very inspired and took up an obedience in the Sisterhood. I was very proud when I received the sister's vestment. It was a hot summer when I found out that I was supposed to wear it with long sleeve. This is when I started hesitating. Perhaps it is not my thing after all. I found this ad in Classifieds among hundreds of other vacancies. It said that a convent was looking for people with foreign languages. This must be something faith-oriented, I thought. I might as well give it a try. All the time I see God raising up children to Abraham of these stones. In time they turn back into stones, but then new children appear. Because this is God's unending and inconceivable love. In a year or so, I left. Father Andrey says that it was devil's work. I did not come back here for about 5 years and stopped going to church. I had a highly paid job that opened doors to traveling and allowed me to enjoy many things that I could afford. But at some point I realized that I could not bear it any longer. I knew that I needed to return to the convent and change my life. And so I did. With Father Andrey's blessing, I was restored in the sisterhood. In those days, Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of weak folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. Gospel of John, chapter 5.
Our lay sisters traveled to many countries as representatives of St. Elisabeth Convent, and there is no question more vivid and popular than the question who a lay sister of mercy is. Usually people have a very vivid interest in that topic and ask us tons of questions, how it is organized and how everything works, and of course who we are, if not the nuns. I would like to tell you a little bit about the history of the sisterhoods and in general charitable organizations. I found interesting information that the Orthodox Church, as well as other Christian denominations, were always connected to the charitable work. And of course, there were always women who wanted to participate in the deeds of mercy. So in the middle of the 1700s in Belarus, almost 92% of parishes and monasteries had the lay sisterhood or the charitable organization which was organized on the basis of these parishes and monasteries. While at the same time in Russia, only 50% of the parishes and monasteries had charitable organizations or sisterhoods as part of their work that they did. And then October Revolution came in 1918, and everything was ruined. And for more than 70, 80 years, the atheistic state and the tradition of the lay sisterhoods was almost lost. But in the end of the 1980s, the sisterhoods started to be organized again. Not yet. And then in 1988, the first sisterhood was organized. This was the sisterhood on the basis of the main Orthodox church in Minsk, the Holy Spirit Church. The sisterhood was named in honor of Saint Sophia of Slutsk. And then all other sisterhoods started to be organized. I want you to watch on your screen a short slideshow which I prepared for you. It will represent a few photographs that represent the history of St. Elisabeth Convent and the chronology of our sisterhood. So everything started in 1994 when the parishioners of St. Peter and Paul Cathedral in Minsk, their priest was Father Andrey Lemeshonak. He is our spiritual father of the convent nowadays. They started to go to their medical institutions, giving help and spiritual support to the patients of these clinics. The first of them is General Hospital number 2 in the downtown Minsk, and the second one, the National Psychiatric Clinic, the largest in Belarus and in all Europe. It hosts 2,000 patients at a time. It has 38 departments. So these parishioners, they were just lay people. Many of them had families. The young students were still single, but were, considering what their future life will be. But all of them, they wanted to make a difference, and they wanted to do deeds of mercy. And they found such a great fruit from the work that they did in the hospitals that, during 2 years that they did it, from 1994 to 1996, many new people joined them. And so in the end, we had, a large group of people, lay people and Father Andrew, who did all this noble work. And then they realized in 1996 that there should be officially registered the sisterhood. And there was no question who will be heavenly patroness. It was chosen St. Elisabeth Romanova because she did very similar work during her lifetime. So from 1996, we already acted as a officially registered charitable non-profit organization. And 3 years later, in 1999, 3 lay sisters from the sisterhood gave monastic vows and became nuns. Metropolitan Philaret gave his blessing to open the convent on the grounds of the psychiatric clinic. That's when the history of the convent joined the history of our sisterhood. So 25 years later, after the origin of the sisterhood, and 22 years later, after the convent was born, we are still here. We do the same work. And many more ministries joined these 2 first ministries of ours. We started to go to the boarding homes for mentally challenged and physically disabled children and adults. We have a visitor nursing service that is going to the houses of the elderly people and disabled people, helping them in their places where they live. And also we started 2 shelters. These are farmsteads, placed in different villages. One of them is for men who are homeless, drug, alcohol addicts, and ex-prisoners. And the second one is for women, the same with very difficult life stories. So, all these years passed, but we are still here and finding a great benefit from the work that we are doing. Sister Alexandra, will you please tell from who we took our experience and who inspired us?
Yeah, so our inspiration, as Sister Anastasia mentioned previously, was St. Elisabeth Romanov, because she organized a convent in Moscow, which was basically doing the same job that we are trying to carry on now. So she had this convent of Sisters of Mercy, lay sisters as well. She thought, I actually recently read an interview with the abbess of this convent, and she said that back then St. Elizabeth just wanted women to be able to participate in this, deeds of mercy, to be around the church, and was looking for the ways to do this. So she established such an institution. The sisters were helping the needy, the poor, the sick, of course, and if they wanted to become nuns later on, they could do that, just as this is our case in the convent in here. So they took vows and became nuns. But actually they could leave the convent and, have families. And what is really great about this, I think it's just amazing that Sister Elizabeth supported those women as well. She gave them allowance. She helped them to find jobs and, to be employed, and she supported them throughout the way. So the basic principle was to give women the opportunity to serve people in need, to lead a Christian life, to do the deeds of mercy, and them being free to choose what path of life they want to. And so this is actually what is happening here in our convent. This is exactly the same.
So, who is a Sister of Mercy? And what are the points that we can say that, that described her? I thought about it, and I just wanted to mark the 3 points. First of all, the Sister of Mercy should be affiliated with a parish or convent, and out of obedience and love to God should do something on a regular basis. Not out of your perfection, your profession or ambitions, no, but out of obedience and love to God. Second point, this something that she is doing should be done to benefit other people. And the third thing is that she shouldn't receive, or at least shouldn't seek, monetary reward for what she is doing to benefit other people. Sister of Mercy has nothing to do with monasticism. This is common misconception to consider lay women in white habits nuns. Many of you are familiar with the sisterhoods that are organized on the basis of the parish. When parishioners women join together to organize the life of the community and the parish, sometimes they do even organize meals for the homeless. Sometimes they organize Sunday school and make little performances for the big feasts, different stuff. But in our case, our parishioners organize sisterhood, which doesn't just look after the convent and organizes our community, but go outside and serve other people in need. All these medical institutions, elderly people at their homes, we look after the homeless, drug, alcohol addicts, ex-prisoners. All of this is done by their lay sisterhood. Our monastic sisters join us, but at the same time we are kind of, separated in our obediences. We are Sisters of Mercy mostly going outside while the nuns are praying and looking after the ministries inside of the convent. And you shouldn't forget that, the lay sisterhood is an organization for lay people. It is not novitiate. It is not preparing us for monasticism in the future. Many of their sisters, sister doesn't mean nun. They come already to join sisterhood, being married and having a family. So it's not a prevention of yours not to join their sisterhood. She is very welcome. It is organization for lay people where we have a great chance to serve people in need, where we want to do good deeds and don't receive monetary reward, but as a spiritual one. And if you ever organize sisterhood at your parish or your convent, you will see very soon that the fruit of these labors is great, and nothing can exchange it. And I would like you to reflect together with Sister Alexandra on the question, how is the process goes when a woman comes and wants to become a Sister of Mercy. How does it work in our convent?
Yeah, so first of all, it's worth mentioning that not only women can come, We are, of course, the majority of us are women, and of course, because it's a women's convent, but also brothers. So men can come if they feel the need to serve a God through serving people, taking care of people around. So when you come the first time to the convent, you basically feel the need for this, and so you come to our spiritual father, Father Andrew, to speak about how you can apply your talents, maybe your desire to serve to this community. Father Andrew always asks, what are your talents, what do you kind of can do well, and after that he decides what obedience he might give you, and then we meet our kind of chief sister, the chief sister who kind of takes care of this very obedience. For example, when I came, obviously I spoke good English, and I was sent to Mother Maria straight away, and she was taking care of me, and I was traveling basically with the sisters around the world, as you might know us from this obedience kind of, and so the talents should be applied basically, and then we have kind of a trial period. And as I saw it, I first thought that the convent looks at you and thinks, oh, kind of, are we gonna accept you in our midst? And then I thought, no, this is for me, to understand whether I am gonna fit in here and whether I'm ready to devote a lot of my time, a lot of my effort and strength to this obedience, to such kind of life. And then once this trial period ends, our Father Andrew, usually after the liturgy, I guess, he says a prayer over the sisters, or one sister or several who are there, and gives them what we are wearing now, the habit, the so-called white habit.
Yeah, and I will tell you about the habit. Their sisters, when the first sisterhood started to be organized again on the territory of Belarus, very soon they realized that the Sister of Mercy should be looking differently from other people. And when she comes to the hospital, she should be visible. And, there is no common uniform for all the Sisters of Mercy. Every sisterhood is free to design and develop their own habit, and I will stand up to show you what habit looks like. Many of you saw us already. So usually it is a white apron and a veil on our head. St. Elisabeth Convent Sisterhood developed a small yellow embroidery of St. Elizabeth's Church on our pocket. And there is also embroidered here my name. My name is Anastasia, so it's embroidered in Russian. So everyone who is speaking with me, they can see my name, and so they can refer to me already by my name. On the veil, there is always a cross. We have yellow cross there. The color doesn't mean anything, it's just our choice to use yellow threads for this. It can be green, sometimes it is red, so it doesn't really matter. I find it very sweet that sometimes when children or adults from the boarding home, when they see us and they see the holy object like cross, which they are used to venerate, they come up to you and kiss your forehead because they see the cross. So I really find it very nice and sweet. And the white uniform of ours, which is called habit, doesn't really mean that it's just outside garment. It actually puts a lot of responsibility on us. And every sister experienced that when you put your habit on, you feel completely different person. You feel that, all the responsibility of the convent, of its expectations, and also the person's life with whom you interact right now is in your hands. And really, with time that we are wearing it over the years, I realize that, the habit, its responsibility makes us better at some point. I want you to watch our third video piece, where Father Andrew shortly tells about the habit as well.
Ведь сестра, это же, понимаете,
Putting on a vestment does not make you a sister.
сестра это действительно
The real vestment is inside. Caress this world, dear son. Comfort my soul. I might grow up one day to rise to the sky on strong wings. Blue sky is full of mystery. I will whisper farewell to every creature. From there I will pour my love onto the whole world, like a white cloud. We come to the boarding home for children with mental and physical disabilities about 7 a.m. almost every morning. We take a group of children and go to liturgy at the convent. The children take communion, eat at the convent refectory, and then we return to the boarding home. We have been doing this for 19 years, since the year 2000. This ministry became an important part of our lives.
То есть у тебя нету какой-то жалости к этим детям, а просто Господь дает любовь.
God gives us love for these children, not because we pity them.
Видя их радость, их отношение к жизни,
The joys that they receive us with and their life attitude give us strength and inspiration.
идти дальше и радоваться, то, что и быть искренним, то, что, наверное, мы утрачиваем.
These children teach us the sincerity that we often lack. We learn to look for genuine things in life. Mother of God and Virgin, rejoice, Mary full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, for thou hast given birth to the Saviour of our souls. None of what we have today was ever planned. I personally never set any goals. I had no intention to become a priest or any vision of the convent as we see it today. All of this was beyond.
And now I'm just gonna shortly tell you about the obediences that we have in the convent. And we saw a couple of questions coming, asking what do we do here in the convent? What are our obediences? What are the areas? So basically an obedience is something that, you know, we have different kinds. First of all, for me personally, it's something that does not require, you know, monetary, so you do not get paid for this. You might not get paid for this. This is what you kind of seeking to serve people, to serve God through this obedience. Some of our sisters work full-time here. For example, Sister Anastasia has been with the convent for
5 years.
For 5 years already, yeah. At some point, I also was fully employed in here, but then, you know, I decided to, you know, follow another path and still stayed as a sister, as a, you know, maybe not a full-time sister, but actually I'm doing what I can in my free time. So it differs for every sister because there is a place and a chance for everyone to do something, you know, for Christ, basically. We do all kinds of jobs. It's a big convent, as Sister Anastasia already said, that, you know, we go to the hospitals, we visit kids and adults in the boarding homes, which are situated right next to our convent. We also have some workshops that help us, you know, get some funds to support all those we take care for. Also, we saw a question: what areas do our brothers work in? And so some of them are doing, for example, architectural work. They work at the farms. They are builders. Some of them work in the kind of workshops like mosaics or icon painting studio. We have some really talented people there. So, all kinds, everything that you can imagine. And what is great about our convent, I think, Father Andrew, when you come up to him and say, well, I think I want to do something, this, something like that. So I really feel that this is necessary. And, and Father Andrew says, yes, sure, please do. Because this is an inspiration that comes from God. And Father Andrew wants to always, use it for the good. And so basically, yeah, this is how it works. So you can be fully employed, you can stay outside of the convent, and like me, for example, right now I'm just coming to sing in several choirs and here as much as I can, as much time as I can devote to this obedience. And Sister Anastasia is working full time for all of this to happen, for all of you to get what you can get from here, from us. Yeah, it's so very important, this communication. And so, yeah.
Yeah, as you see, we are very open and we are trying to, to share all the riches that we have here with you, with people in different countries. That's why we started all these projects in English language at least, because, the majority of the world is speaking on this international language. And, all of us are waiting when the medical institutions will be open again, because Sister Alexandra is visiting their boarding home for adults as their Sister of Mercy. I'm visiting the General Hospital number 2 gastroenterological department. But now all of these hospitals are closed for visits. We are helping other people as much as we can. We are sending the cards for their holidays, big church feasts. We are sending them, small presents for all these feasts. But we are praying for them. We are making cross processions around all these institutions once a week. But still, we cannot enter the territory of these institutions. So we are praying and hoping that, one day we will be back to our obediences, because, we are really missing the people who are there, who are living there in the boarding homes or staying in the hospitals, and they're missing us. And it's always, both ways, not just they need us, but we need them as well. I wanted us to reflect shortly on a question. So the sister, is it a profession or a vocation? Is it work or service? Sister Alexandra, what do you think?
So I think, first of all, it's a service. It's a vocation. It's something that you seek because you cannot live without it anymore. And of course, it's great if you have a profession. For example, I'm an interpreter and I can apply my talents in here. But also regarding singing, I have no musical education. So this is what I just happen to do because I have a chance. Or I never learned to be a nurse, and still I'm going, for visits to our boarding homes for children and adults, to spend time with those people, just as I can. So basically, I think a sister does it not because she has to, but because she cannot not do it,
Yes, exactly. And for me, it's completely vocation and only service, because, having my professions, finishing university, having some talents, I thought that I will be able to apply all of them while here. And then, at some point, Lord is really humbling you, showing that, when you are thinking that you are perfect and you are trying to apply it, everything gets ruined. And you feel like, someone has beaten you. But when you actually come humble and really think about other people and how can I help to them, sometimes just sitting and listening to another person really helps him much more than all your, advices, speaking, monetary gift, etc., etc. So, going through all these obediences, what we can only do, we can just come and be someone who is preparing the soil. And the sower, as a priest, when he comes and sows, all our prayers are that all these seeds will sprout one day, and then all our work is not for nothing. As Father Andrew, the spiritual father of our convent, mentions that even if one soul of all these people that we are taking care of will be saved, it was worth trying all these years, all these sisters. So we are really hoping that, we are working not for vain, but sometimes we have the moments of reward. When the person is baptized, when you're going to the hospital and there is an old man who lived a very harsh life, lots of sins, and then he gets baptized in the hospital. When the person being 60 plus years old, 70 plus years old, has a first confession and communion in the hospital, it's our victory. When the person who never wanted to hear about God, never stepped inside of the church, all of a sudden gets heart attack or stroke and appears half paralyzed in the hospital, and he is sobbing, seeing the priest, and tries to stand up to kiss the cross in the priest's hand. This is our victory. And all the other men in this ward, when they see this, I believe something will be changed in them. Maybe we will not know about it, it's fine, but the Lord will see that we were trying. So we are just coming and we are vessels. Vessels through which the Lord is working to these people. Only He can convert people. Only He can touch their heart and soul and turn their mind to think in different way. We cannot. We can just humbly be vessels, and He will be working through us. I want you to hear the words of Father Andrew in our fourth episode of the documentary. Please watch on the screen.
Everybody complains sometimes, but there are people among us who resist despondency and treat their obedience responsibly. I think that it would be fair to say that many sisters are approaching holiness. Seriously, those who take their cross and carry it. But they have to bear many, many sorrows. Sick children, drunk husbands, broken families, personal illnesses. In spite of it all, every day these sisters find the strength to fulfill their obedience and serve God. This polishes their souls like nothing else.
I asked Sister Alexandra to share with us, for 10 years, I'm sure she has millions of stories, but I asked her to choose 2 of them, which are maybe funny, extraordinary, or just influenced you very much. Sister Alexandra, please share with us.
Yeah, it's really hard to pick, but I just immediately remembered 2 stories that defined me, as a person, and showed me, the God's work in our sisters. And I think in this or that way, it's the same for all sisters. So for me, the first story that I want to tell you, I was in Berlin. I was traveling with the sisters, and we had a festival of Orthodox culture there. And I was there beforehand promoting it, so that many people know and can come. And at the time, I did not have a very peaceful state inside. And as probably Sr.Anastasia can also, say, and she knows that sometimes inside of you, a storm is raging.
Yeah, like thunderstorm, yes.
Yeah, and I was just walking I think it was downtown of Berlin. It was near the Berliner Dom, Berlin Cathedral, and I was walking in the habit, and obviously a cross on my head and stuff, and people were looking at me like really, sometimes they laughed, sometimes they took pictures of me, or one person even spit, in front of me, and I was so, I wasn't offended, but I had this urge to just rip off the habit and, just become a normal person, what I thought back then. And later on, I understood that this is the devil's work. This is how the devil works in you. He's gonna, just completely ruin whatever God gave you, this blessing. And so I was walking, and I felt this urge to just, take it off. And one lady came up to me and said, "You're so brave for wearing the habit, for wearing a cross on your head. Thank you so much, sister." And obviously she thought I was a nun. And I immediately started crying because I understood why I needed to, to have this habit on. Because this is not for me. This is for maybe for some other people who just see Christ in you. You're definitely not a good person yourself, but people who look at you, they see this bravery. Maybe this inspires them to be brave themselves and to proclaim God and to change their lives. And this is so important. So for me, it was a defining moment, and it was actually a couple of years ago. So you always are developing as a person, as a Christian, and even if you have been here for like 10 years, it doesn't mean anything that you're a perfect sister, and you feel always like blessed. And different moments, there are different moments. And also I realized when we were in England with the concerts, and here comes the second story. So I finally realized that people are greeting you with such a warm heart because you are a sister, because you are basically they see Christ in you. And I used to travel a lot as a tourist and never had this welcome. And then when you come as a sister, you're suddenly, all the doors are open, and I was so shocked by that. And I was so thankful to God, and I didn't even, think I will get a big reward. And that, at one concert, I was in such a bad mood, and I did not want to sing one of the songs, and it was, I don't like it. I can tell that I don't like one of the songs that we're singing with the sisters, and I was like, oh my God, this song again, no, I just don't want to do this again. And after the concert, a guy came up to me, a young man who I don't think is Christian or something. He just came to the concert and he was crying, and it was a song in Russian. And I was like always complaining, why are we singing this song? Why? This is in Russian. The lyrics are important. I don't, why this is in the program? And he came up to me crying and said, thank you so much. That song was so beautiful. It literally changed something inside of me. And it was another lesson to me from God that whatever you think, whatever you feel, just, God works through you. He works miracles only the way that He knows, and you can, have your own opinion and push it somewhere, and just trust Him. So He can work through anything and through anyone, and so that was like a big lesson for me, and especially with the people from England, because it's a different culture and we're used to being around our people most of the time. And it's so important to see that God works there just as much as He works here.
Yeah, people called lay sisters when they see women in white habits, white angels.
White angels.
And Father Andrey also mentions that some of our sisters are really coming close to holiness. So calling them white angels is kind of right. But sometimes you feel yourself that you are so weak, you are so sinful. How can you put this white habit on yourself when you are the person you are really? But as I mentioned, it changes you. I thought that I won't tell you any stories, but then I remembered one that influenced me so much, and I still remember it. It happened in the first months when I came to the convent. I came, being in a fairy tale. Everything was so different in the convent rather than at my secular jobs that I had before. People communicating with each other, this love, respect. Everyone calls you sister and then your name. You call people sister or brother and then the name. It was so unusual for me. I was not used to it. So I was in this state when I'm just observing and keeping silence and looking at this different world. And then one brother came up to me and told me that he needs my help. There was a journalist from Sweden who came to Belarus. She wanted to take interviews of the sisters who visit all different ministries of ours. And she came here and discovered that she was pregnant, and she felt so bad that being scared for her health and the life of her future baby, she just left back to Sweden. And she left all her materials with the questions here and asked our sisters to take the interviews, record it, and send her the recordings, and she will make the articles. So I was given task to take an interview of the sister who visits the boarding home for adults number 3. I had no idea who are the sisters who I can talk to, so I came up to their sisters who are with the convent for many years, and they gave me the telephone number of the sister Helen, who is visiting their boarding home for many, many years. She's of my age, and she has a twin sister, and they together were visiting this boarding home for, I don't know, for maybe 7 or 8 years before I came to the convent. So it's been more than 10 years by now. So I called her and we agreed that she will come after her work at about after 6 p.m. on one of the days. And when she came, I saw that, the person came after work. She was so exhausted and tired that I felt so sorry for her because I was also tired, and I thought that, our interview is going to be a little bit boring. I just had a task to read the question in English for her. She speaks English because she is a teacher of English in gymnasium. This is her secular job. And she just goes to the boarding home in her free time, in the evenings or early in the mornings for the liturgy, to commune the patients, and the weekends, of course. So when she came, she talked to the sisters she knew, and we went in a separate room, we sat down, and I started to read her questions, and she started to respond them. In a couple of questions, I saw the miracle. I saw that the face of the sister started to stream the light. She completely changed. For me, their mentioning of the boarding home was something very depressive, very scary, a place where I've never been before, but which seemed like a prison without any hope. But she spoke about these people with such love that, she spoke about them even more lovingly than about her family. And her family was completely against of her and her sister going to the boarding home. They were against and tried to prevent them going in the beginning. They were not churchgoers, and so their presence in the convent and in this boarding home was horrible for their family. With time they started to become, but they couldn't mention this obedience of theirs because it caused irritation in their families. With time, their family started to be just indifferent. With a few more years, they started to be interested in this obedience of theirs. And nowadays, they are churchgoers as well, and they accept that, their children, their sisters are going to the boarding home. So I saw this miracle when the person starts to speak, and I saw the Holy Spirit in her, who was speaking through her, because she completely changed. When we finished our interview, she was already rested, beautiful person who was early morning, she was rested, and there was no sign of tiredness in her face. I remember it up to now because I also experienced it. When you are loving what you do, when you are fully participating in it, and when you tell about the obedience in the convent to other people, some of them do notice that your face changes and their eyes are shining and you start to stream the light. It's of course an invisible light, but still, people feel this change in you. So, we are very lucky here to have this ability to be part of the sisterhood where we can serve to other people. Now we will go to a short advertisement. Well, it's not really advertisement, it's just we want to show you what the beautiful articles people are making in our workshops. Many sisters, brothers are working in these workshops, and there are more than 40 of them. Some of them were closed because of the pandemic and because we cannot travel and sell them in many places as we did before. The markets are closed, and it's a little bit difficult nowadays, but still majority of them are still open. Sister Alexandra, please tell about our audio studio.
Yeah, so among the rest of the workshops, we have an audio and video studio. And as I mentioned before, I participated in the recording of one of the CDs. We have this CD, which is called The Mystical Supper. And our choir is called New Voice. Some of you probably know about this CD, but if you don't, this is the only CD that we have that has all English Russian Orthodox chants, liturgical chants. We recorded it, I think, about 10 or 9 years ago. But it's still worth listening. And if you want to get to know our Russian church singing tradition, this is the CD for you. And you will understand all the words because they're all sung in English. And the information about the CD is going to be in the live chat.
Yes, and I want to show you about one of my favorite workshops. It is the acrylic workshop, acrylic iconography studio, sorry. And the one who also makes casing for the icons. Casing is in Russian called oklad. It is here, the icon that you already noticed is the icon of Jesus Christ in a cloth and in a wooden frame with a glass in front of it. These workshops make these icons. One icon takes about 2 months to be completely finished, which is a miracle for me because there are a few people who are working on this project. The first person is painting the icon with acrylic paints, and the second person is working on a cloth itself, casing, this beautiful material, velvet, and all the work is a handwork. It is embroidered by one person, and they usually use some semi-precious and precious stones, like these white pearls, and these are just, glass stones, but these are semi-precious stones that you can see here. I also prepared a few more icons for you to show to you. This icon of St. Nicholas Wonderworker made in the same technique, and it costs actually very modest amount of money, and all of these icons are actually vacant, and if you like them you can just write to us to our email address that is posted in our live chat stelisabethconvent@gmail.com, and we will help you answering all your questions and giving all the information for you about them. This icon is also product of the same workshop, but here you see not a velvet embroidered oklad, but a metal one. Our convent is still among a few places in this world where we use the manual work to make all this metal work. One person, it is a man, he is working with special tools, and one piece by one he is making all this ornament by hand. Also we use their golden leaf of the highest probe. You don't see it here, it is underneath a cloth, and semi-precious and precious stones to decorate it. This Mother of God is Zhurovitskaya Mother of God. We have an ancient monastery in Belarus, and people who are suffering from cancer are usually praying to this Mother of God, and this is miracle working icon, and she is helping people. And the last one is Mother of God of Orsha, Arshanskaya Mother of God. It is not still placed in kiot, in this wooden frame with glass, so I can show you the work itself. So first of all, the icon is painted, and in our convent, we usually, even if we use a clad casing, we still paint the whole icon, because sometimes in older times, the iconographers would usually paint only visible pieces of the icon, faces and hands. But in our convent, we just painted all of the icon. So in case you want to remove a clad, you will still have the proper icon in your house. And a clad is made separately and just placed on the icon. So as I mentioned, you can order any of these icons, and we will be happy if all these icons will be placed in a special place in your house, and you will be praying to Mother of God, St. Nicholas Wonderworker, or Jesus Christ. All of the icons are blessed in our convent by our priest before we ship them to the new owners. And the last part of our live stream is answering your questions. Thank you so much for being active and sending many of them to us. But we will start from the questions that came to us beforehand. When we started to advertise our live stream, some of the people submitted their questions beforehand. The first one, Sister Alexandra will answer. What was your path to God?
Yeah, so although my father is a priest, so I always was in this kind of Orthodox environment at home. I was never ever made to go to church. My father never pushed me to do anything, and I was always a rebellious person. So for me, church was just my father's job and workplace at some point. But then, I had this understanding that, I need to behave because I'm the priest's daughter, and, people will think something bad about my dad if I behave badly. And so I think, but my dad always said that I did not say anything to you because you need to meet God yourself. This should be a personal meeting. So I guess my path to God and becoming a true Christian, in kind of full sense of it, started with the convent. When I came here and actually traveled to the US on my first obedience, and then I came back, and the devil just wanted me to go away so badly that, I just left after this trip. For 5 years, I didn't even come here. I was not taking communion. I was not going to confession. It was a horrible time. But then, after this time of being apart from God completely, I felt the urge to meet him again. And that's when the meeting occurred. And then I knew where to come back. I came back to the convent. So basically I can say that my path to God is connected with the convent really, really closely. And of course my father has always been praying for me, and I know that this is only because of his prayers.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Alexandra. The second question is for me. Do you live in the convent? Asked one of our friends. No, the lay sisters don't live in the convent. All of us have our own homes, and being lay sisters, we have no right, even spiritually, to live in the convent. The convent is only for monastics. So our monastic sisters, more than 130 of them, are living in the convent, while the lay sisters and brothers are living in our homes in the city. Minsk is not such a big city, so usually it takes maximum 1 hour 30 minutes to get to the convent if you come from the completely opposite side of the city. But usually it's 30 minutes, 1 hour, travel time on the public transportation, because usually we use public transportation, and here not all of us have the car here. So we live not in the convent. Sister Alexandra, do only single women can enter your sisterhood, or they work in your convent? Well, obviously this question was asked before we told that, we are not monastics.
Yeah. But also women with families or men with families can, of course, become part of the sisterhood and the brotherhood, and they do not have to work here. They can work here if they want to, and if Father Andrew sees the need for it. If a person has something to offer the convent, then of course he can work here full time. But you can just be affiliated and go to hospitals and do something else, sing, or I don't know, paint, or have workshops for other people, either from boarding homes or from outside the convent. Just organize concerts, promote this culture, so all kinds of stuff. So work in the general sense, we all work here, but not full time.
Yes. Do sisters have any routine prayer rule as an obligation to the sisterhood? Yes, we do. When you become the Sister of Mercy, you should read a cassis to St. Nicholas Wonderworker daily. It's up to you what time you are reading it. Whenever you have a free moment, you can read it. But we usually do it every day, because St. Nicholas Wonderworker is our one of our patron saints. We have his church, which was the first one that we opened and built on the territory of our convent. And also he is our benefactor. You know, whenever we have any difficulties, any problems, any monetary questions, we ask him and he provides. That's amazing, but he is, you know, one of the ancient saints who is still so much alive now, who is so quick to respond that, you know, it's amazing. All of us love him dearly. And then we also read a couple of prayers for the unity and for, you know, for strengthening and growing of our community. And usually as Christians, and many of us have spiritual fathers, we have also our private prayer rule, but it's already your personal thing with your spiritual father. Every Sunday we have a spiritual conversation with Father Andrew. It starts at 5 p.m. From Akasis to St Elisabeth, our patroness. After Akasis, Father Andrew anoints every sister with holy oil, and then we come usually to the hall where we sit down. Their monastic sisters also join us, and we just discuss spiritual topics. Sisters are free to come up and ask something, Father, share any feelings, any miracles, any life situations. So we always stay connected every week. If Father Andrew is busy and sometimes he cannot, hold this meeting, another priest from our convent leads this meeting, but it is on a regular basis. That's it. Can a widow become a lay nun, Sister Alexandra?
Yeah, so we answered it before as well, but I just wanted to underline again that we are not nuns. So if you're speaking about a lay sister, anyone can become a lay sister. A person with a family, a widowed person, a person without a family who is single. This is, all kinds of people can become lay sisters. And if you want to become a nun, which is completely different, and you need to take vows, you follow a completely different procedure. We just want you to have this understanding in mind of how we're different. So the nuns and the sisters, although we are together, we're working together and see each other every day.
Yeah, maybe you will answer this question which came to us during the live chat because it's connected. Do some of the sisters eventually become monastics?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually how our nuns became nuns. So they first congregated around Father Andrew, and they were lay sisters because they were just visiting boarding homes and the psychiatric hospital. And then they felt this urge to become nuns. And the first couple of them were, that took their vows long ago. And so that's how our community grows. So first of all, a lot of our white sisters I see, sometimes you come to a service and you see a white sister wearing this habit, and then the next week you come and you see, she's already dressed in black because she decided to go and become a nun, which is amazing and beautiful. And, she's going to join that part of the community.
Yes, a couple of weeks ago it happened to me. I know Sister Nina. She is one of the sisters who visited the hospital, General Hospital, with me. And so I'm leaving the convent in the evening, going back home, and she's rushing in the convent in white habit. The next morning I see her in black. And, in our case, it's a joy. It's a joy for the sister because, she is taking this noble way of monastic, and it is our joy. But of course, they're lay sisters who become nuns. They don't have husbands, they don't have children. Otherwise, she won't be able to so drastically change her life. And there is a question that came to me. It's a very deep one. I have a deep desire to enter a full religious life, but my ill health prevents me. Advice? I couldn't take this responsibility to answer this question from myself, so I came up to our spiritual father Andrew, who is our spiritual father for, of the Sisterhood and convent for more than 25 years. So he, confesses and communes more than 130 nuns every week. So I trust him that he should give this answer. So he gave it to me, and I translated it into English, and I'm going to read it for you. He said, "Live in the world like in a monastery. First of all, do not complain about your health. Give thanks to God that you can attend church services whenever it happens, and try to serve your relatives. We can serve others not only when we are vibrant with health, but also when we are infirm, but there is God within us, His Spirit. I want to give you an example. I knew one elderly woman, she was more than 90 years old, who lived with God all her life. Even in her age, she had a very beautiful, radiant face. She got sick and invited me to visit to commune her. I was astounded how much love surrounds her. All her family members, children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren built their lives around her and loved her dearly. And she was the one who prays for the whole family. She had many children, never had abortions, always attended church services. And this God's grace allowed them to build a beautiful family united in love. And as opposite situation, he also knew the family where they threw away their mother. And she lived at the railway station as homeless because the way how she grew up her children and what messed up and sinful life she had. So Father ended up saying that what you reap is what you sow. So hopefully, this answer of Father Andrew will help you in life to follow the right path. So now we still have a few questions that came to us in the live chat. Sister Alexandra, how many lay sisters work at the convent?
Yeah, so at the moment there are a little over 300 lay sisters who were habits, who were blessed to work here. But actually there are a lot more people associated with the convent. If we say about the whole community, I think it's over 1,000 or something, but the lay sisters about 300.
Yes, all other people are those who are employed in our workshops and do different obediences for the convent, but not part of the sisterhood because they do not visit voluntarily their ministries of St. Elisabeth Convent. Can someone join the sisterhood if she lives in a different country? Well, we don't have any experience like this, and lately I was corresponding with a woman who wanted to be a lay sister of our convent, but can you imagine that she cannot receive the spiritual support and guidance of our spiritual father? She doesn't speak Russian, and this is the language that we are speaking here. And I spoke with one of their Mother Superiors from the United States, and I shared with her the situation, and she just gave me advice that the person should be affiliated with a parish or monastery which is nearby, because that's where you can be guided, receive support, and where they speak the same language as you. So we don't have this experience, but who knows, maybe in the future it will be possible, but at the moment only sisters who are living here in Minsk are the Sisters of Mercy of St. Elisabeth Convent. Sister Alexandra, how does the life of the nuns differ from that of the lay sisters?
So I think Sister Anastasia already covered this question a little bit during the talk. So as she said, the nuns are actually staying in the convent more, and lay sisters are going out for the service. They also have their own kind of way of life. They have early morning prayers, like they wake up at probably 4 in the morning, they go to the church and they have a very early prayer there. Then they have liturgies every day. We of course try sometimes, to go to as many liturgies as possible, to as many ekathis or evening prayers as possible. But we're not obliged to do it. But the nuns, they have their own way. So Mother Superior or Abbess is head of them, and she's basically looking after all of them, taking care of all of them. And sometimes, it's from my experience, it's hard to, understand what nuns are actually experiencing, because our experience is quite different. So we live in the city, we have our own way of life, people have children, they have chores around the house, and nuns have something different. So it's sometimes really, really hard to understand this person, but that's what we're here for.
Yes, but at least we are very lucky that we have this chance to be near monastics,
Oh, sure.
to communicate with them, because they really spiritually, we benefit from them a lot. So we
That's
are
true.
really lucky.
Yeah.
One more question, dear sisters, since you became sisters, how your life changed and how you like it? Well, for sure, I'm sure every sister will say that my life changed drastically, and that's my case as well. When I came to the monastery, I already mentioned to you, it was like a different world, where there are different attitude towards a person. It's more tender. When we are here, all of us are religious people, all of us go to the church, so we see image of Jesus in every person who we meet here, even those homeless people who come to the convent asking for help. Even to them we are, trying to see the beauty in these people. So in my case, I stayed with the convent for more than 5 years. It's my 6th year started. I found my husband in the convent. He is one of the brothers who is also working in the convent. He visited the boarding home for adults, and we were singing in one choir. So, after a few years we knew each other, we started to date and got married. And of course, it's very different when you marry a religious person who is the same mind and heart with you, who participates in the same activities as you do. And my case is not the only one. Many lay women and many laymen met their spouses here in the convent. It's a usual practice. And, it's always a joy for us to sing during their weddings. In the church, me and Sister Alexandra were singing together for many couples who got married in our convent and who are the brothers and sisters of the same sisterhood here. So I advise you to organize the sisterhood in the parish or monastery where you are and just experience it yourself. What a noble work it is. Sister Alexandra, I answered this question for a couple of people, and it's quite a vital topic for me in the past weeks. A lot of people want to know about the Jesus prayer, so I shared my opinion with these people with whom I spoke. Maybe you will share your experience or thoughts about this, one of the most important prayers and most powerful ones, Jesus prayer.
Yeah, I don't think I'm the right person to, to speak about the Jesus prayer. I recently had, but I can say something for sure. I recently had a kind of a praying crisis. And as my father is a priest, I'm super lucky to have my spiritual father in him as well. And so I said to him that, through the years, I completely lost this, this feeling while I'm praying. So all of my prayers were so dry, and they even, I just started praying less and less and less. And then he said, you know what, just abandon everything that you're now reading, all the prayers, and just take one prayer that you really like, and Jesus prayer. And he actually told me the most important thing, that this prayer should not be said in the mind, but it should be the prayer of the heart. So once you understand how this works, this starts to become your, how your heart beats with this Jesus prayer, with these words of the Jesus prayer. And I could not believe that this is so easy. You just repeat one prayer at the same time, all the time. And then after some time, when I, trusted him and started doing this, I understood that all of these years, what I needed to do is basically to say this prayer in my heart, because this is showing the love to God through this prayer, your love to God, and receiving the love of Christ from him, through this prayer. And everything is in these words. So I cannot say how important this is. It's just vital for us, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Alexandra. It's a deep, insight in this prayer. And the last question that we have, someone wrote to us asking, do you get paid for the service you do? It differs. Their Sister of Mercy doesn't get paid for what she is doing in our ministries. So going to the hospitals, helping vulnerable people, singing in the choirs. It is not paid. You can get paid if you do some, manual or intellectual work in the offices of the convent, like the law office, administration of the convent. When you are doing some manual work in any of our workshops, of course you get paid, because this is the main job that the person has. And many vulnerable people are working for us in our workshops because they are not competitive on the market. And they cannot work 8 hours per day as normal people do, and they struggle to find a job. And our convent is open to give these people jobs when they are serious and they really want to work as much as they can. So some of the work is paid with a stipend. The salaries are not high. You for sure will not make any career in the convent because here are different laws, spiritual laws. And when you are doing their obedience in the hospitals, this work is not paid. It's your volunteer wish to do deeds of mercy to other people. On this note, I think we will say goodbye to you. We are very grateful that you joined our live stream, that you spent it with us. We hope that we answered all of your questions. You have our email addresses, and we are always happy to stay in touch with you and communicate with you as much as possible. We will sing for you with Sister Alexandra a prayer, a final prayer to the Mother of God, which is called It Is Truly Meet. And in the end, please don't stop the video, because we will show a minute of their final episode from one of the documentaries that you saw before.
Полное доверие Богу, бескорыстное служение ближнему, поиск высокого смысла для своей жизни – такое встречается и сегодня. В Свято-Елисаветинском монастыре Минска 300 сестер милосердия, более 100 монахинь. Княгиня Елисавета убита большевиками 18 июля 1918 года. Чистота жизни, мученическая смерть не оставляют равнодушными и вдохновляют сердца и через сотню лет рискнуть пойти по пути скорби и света.